All right, you've seen the 30-second video where we placed all this blended topsoil up here. It's about 2 to 3 inches in areas. I chose to do that because this is, for those of you who understand the wildflower project, this is a 2-year project, and I don't want the wildflower seed to have a inadequate soil base. Now, what we're talking about today is the weed mat. Now, why weed mat instead of just black plastic? Well, after having done a lot of research, the people, Department of Natural Resources, etc., in most states do not, I repeat, do not want a mound system smothered. And by smothered, they mean plastic. So weed mat, if you're not familiar with it, is porous to water and air. It's not porous to weeds. It stops weeds. That's why it's called a weed mat. I love to keep it simple. So I've laid out, these are 3 feet by 100 weed mat. I've secured them with these old pavers I had because, of course, it gets windy. The last thing I want to be out here doing is securing weed mat that's blown away in a 50-mile-an-hour wind. I'm going to mark all of the outlets on the septic system. There's some PVC pipe with paint and with cones, belt and suspenders. So that's the first step. The topsoil got placed in the last 2 days. It's gorgeous. I am then going to take the black plastic and lay it here. It's 20 feet wide, and I think is it 200 feet long? Who knows? I don't remember. But I figure that if I have an area that can breathe on this 6-person mound system, since there's only really one person living in the house full time, and what can I say? I spent a lot of time in the Army, so I do things with water that some people don't do. Yeah, it's 20 by 100. So this is about 100 feet long. So I'm going to go 20 feet this way with black plastic. If I have any extra, which I'll need some more, I'll put it over there. 20 feet here. So I have water impermeable black plastic on either side, about 100 feet. I'll have air and water permeable weed mat over the guts of the mound system. This is where most of the sand and pipes are located. So I will satisfy the state Department of Natural Resources recommendations that you not smother a mound system with black plastic. Now, they say it's for evaporation of water. Well, last time I checked, yes, water does evaporate from soil. There's no disputing that. But the mound system is designed to have the water filtrate through the sand. There's pipes and sand, and gravity runs it. But I figure these people have been doing this work for decades. They probably know something I don't. So this was my compromise. Weed mat, permeable to air and water, weeds will die. The areas that are not primarily sand and pipes will be black plastic. It'll be secured with these patio blocks, and it'll have to be adjusted as time goes on. But that's the plan. And I will then smother all the weeds that might grow in the next 12 months with the weed mat and the black plastic. Some will sneak through, I already know that. So in the spring of next year, as I start to see some weeds sneak through the seams, I'll hit it with Roundup, a herbicide. Spot kill it, then wait the whole summer, which is going to be, 5 months long, 6 months long. Then we'll peel back all of this weed mat and plastic and hopefully be presented with weed-free sterile soil, because none of the weeds and seeds that exist in the soil or in the ground should have survived after a year of being smothered. They were hit with Roundup to begin with, twice. Everything was killed. Lawnmower was taken over to cut down any of the stems on the plants, the trunks, because the issue with not cutting it down is that these pieces of grass, these stems, these roots, these trunks could poke through the plastic. That's not a good thing. Now, that won't be a problem with these little tiny weeds. They'll be smothered. Life is good. And then next year, we'll have the video of planting the wildflowers, peeling the plastic back and the weed mat, and planting the flowers. And then a year later, God, I can't believe the stuff I do. A year later, then hopefully we'll have the beginning of the wildflowers, because as I explained before, the wildflower seeds need to winter over next year. They get down into the soil. Then the following year, they germinate and you have the beginning. Now, everything I've read and everyone I've talked to says it takes up to 3 years for various wildflower seeds to do their thing. And we'll go from there. Now, why go to so much trouble? Well, price wildflower seeds that'll cover an area that's 4,000 square feet. It's really expensive. Now, well worth it, because once it gets established, it's going to be gorgeous. It'll be covered with a variety of wildflowers here. The end result, it'll be very pretty. And other than the fact that you've got to maintain it, which doesn't take a lot of maintaining, the biggest maintenance on a wildflower or wild grass area is you got to burn it. Well, that's going to be easy. If the weather's right, I just burn it. If not, I'll get a propane burner and just burn all of it, because that's what prairie is designed to do. Suffer wildfires, and then the seeds, which are resistant to the fire, drop to the ground, and the following season, the roots, which are in wild grasses 10, 20 feet deep, spring back up. It comes back with a vengeance, which is good. And we'll go from there. Oh God, it's not even very windy. I better put some pavers there. So hopefully by the end of today, got some appointments I got to go to, I'll have most of this covered in plastic. I'll get to understand the areas that I missed, that I'll need to get a little bit of extra plastic, cover it, weight it down, and then ride out the weather. Hopefully we survive with this project intact in spring. And then all we have to wait for is August, when, like I said, we uncover it. The soil will be sterilized. It'll be weed and seed free. Then we plant the wildflower seeds. We'll take some maintenance during that time, but that's okay. I think the end result is going to be gorgeous. It will take 2 years to do, and it's taken a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of thought, but I think this is going to work out well. So it's about 75 degrees today. Winds coming out of the northwest, so it's not particularly humid, and it's gorgeous. You can see blue skies, typical Midwest when we're not having snow or rain. That's typical, I guess, everywhere. And then, as I mentioned before, we cleaned out all of the bushes and bad things. We left the cool ones, like this pine or fir. We chopped down one of the English walnuts. We left that one intact and cleaned everything out. Now, we did that for a couple of reasons. One, it helps open up the space. It gives it a nicer look. It also pushes the weeds back. And that's important when you plant wild prairie grasses and prairie flowers. You don't want the weeds and other nasties up close to where you're working, because obviously those weed seeds will be blown into your wildflower area. So we knocked it back, some places 20 feet easily. And the plan is every year we'll bring a billy goat, a bush hog, something back here and just knock it all down. And we'll keep this knocked down so all we have is the small short grasses in this space, which will be easy to take care of. Won't pose a threat to the wildflowers. And it looks good. Now just a little lay of the land here for those who are interested. If you can see it, if you're familiar with it, those are cattails. Those are very wet areas. And you can't plant or disturb wet areas in Wisconsin because it's protected. But this will be very pretty. At least that's the hope. And it's kind of fun to come up with my own landscaping ideas, research it, implement it, hire people to help me. And then, like any delayed gratification, it's going to take a while to see how well it works. So that's it. Love you all. Oh, I forgot to mention, this area here on the south side of the mound, oddly enough, there was so much foliage here that it was not growing well previously to chopping everything down, that we needed to open it up so it got more sun, which will change the wildflower seed mix, because wildflowers come in like anything, like even lawn grasses, shady, sunny. So I won't have to have as complex a mix. I will still have a mix, but it will be more towards the sunny, mild shade mix. It's gonna rock. I just wish it didn't take 2 years. But like anything in life, good things take time. So as I was trying to say before, I love you all. Hope you're doing well. Hope this helps somebody who says, oh, I'm gonna do wildflowers, either to stop them from doing it or give them an idea that they can adapt and apply for their own lives and project. So bye.